Welcome to Willow Healing Matters, the podcast. We are so excited to have you joining us on this journey where we explore different ways to empower your soul, whether it's healing in your kitchen or all the way up in the corporate world. Come with us as we look into different ways to heal your mind, body, and soul. Hey everyone, it's Catherine Cristani with another episode of Willow Healing Matters, and today I am joined by the amazing David Groode. So David is an awakener and has been doing intuitive readings and numerology for over 30 years. Working with an international global clientele, David has created a rock star career as an intuitive reader, supporting people to see what they can't see in order to achieve their dreams. The clarity that comes through in one session with David can take years to arrive at in life, making it a breakthrough acceleration towards healing and integration and taking your life to the next level. So a big welcome to the show, David.
Thank you so much, Catherine, for having me here. It's so great to be here.
And I love that doesn't even touch upon half the things that you do because you also do numerology, astrology, you do
No astrology.
no astrology.
I only know enough to get me into trouble. So I don't formally do it with people.
I love that. But what pulled you on this path? Like, was there an awakening moment or were you just always curious? What kind of happened there?
Wow, that's such a question. So I think it was always there growing up, but I didn't realize it at the time. Because when I was growing up, I thought I was connecting with my imaginary play realm, But later on, when I realized I was really connecting with beings in other dimensions. And when I was in high school, I had an unexpected out-of-body experience. I was in biology class and we went to the track and we were sprinting and testing our pulses. And when I was walking back to class, I felt a little off and my soul floated out of my body above me. And I'm looking at myself standing there, the cars in the parking lot, and everybody walking back to their classes from like a few feet above me. Wow. And I was like, whoa, what is this? Come back. I want to go camping next weekend with my family. So it kind of came back, but it didn't come back in like straight, like it went out pretty straight. It came back in like zigzag. And it landed in me. I think because it came back in zigzag, I felt a little off for about 2 hours, like headachy, stomach achy a little bit, just a little off. But that really opened me up. And I think I need to go back because when I was 15, my aunt and uncle were Tibetan Buddhists and Sufis. And I went to go spend a month with them in Maui where they were living. And when I was 15 and I was there with them for a month, they had all these comic books from India, and I read the Bhagavad Gita in comic book form. And it just opened me up to like other possibilities and past lives and reincarnation. And so when that out-of-body experience happened, that just like further propelled me to want to know even more. And I also had in high school, I was in a driver's education class. We were watching a film and I had a really bad habit of tilting my chair back while I was sitting in it. And what happened was in the film, they were going to jump start the car with the cables and they were like showing how to do that. And when the person in the film went to go connect the cables, while I was tilting my chair back, I had this bleed through memory of dying in a past life, checking something underneath the hood of the car and it exploding. And I almost fell back and hit the floor because I was like reliving the explosion in a sense, the memory of it. But I managed to like save my balance, got the chair back upright and never told anybody about it. Okay, so fast forward. I'm 19 years old. I go for my very first reading with the first professional psychic I ever went to. And he couldn't have been mind reading me at the time because I really wasn't even thinking about it at the time. And he's starting the reading and he starts talking, and he says, you had a past life in Germany and you went to go check something underneath the hood of the car and it exploded and you died. So you have to be careful of watching violent movies because they can trigger those kinds of memories for you. Plus, he verified another past life I always knew I had. And without me even thinking about it or asking. And then it was a very profound reading. I couldn't deny it. But then in the middle of the reading, he says, oh, yeah, when you're in your mid-20s, you're going to be doing readings and work similar to what I'm doing. And I'm thinking, oh, yeah, right. Because, excuse me, it didn't match my career pictures of what I would imagine myself to be doing. So even though I had this really profound reading from him, I really wanted to do my best to dismiss that part. So I studied shamanism and healing when I was 20 with a teacher. And she lived in Oregon and I lived in LA. And she knew I could see before I knew I could see. So she would fly into LA. I'd pick her up at the airport. I'd drive her 2 or 3 hours to where she'd be teaching a workshop. And I wasn't allowed to look at her. I could only look at the road in front of me and the cars behind me. And I had to go up and connect with the guides, tell her who was there, what they were saying, and she asked questions. And it really taught me to be in 2 places at once, no matter what was going on around me. I don't recommend learning that way, but yeah.
Agreed. Agreed. Especially driving a car. Not the best time to do it.
Yeah. And so it really prepared me. And then when I was 24 or 25, somewhere in there, I had a non-specific virus in my liver. It showed up on 2 liver panels and blood panels. And it was pretty painful. I'd have enough energy to go to work and I'd come home and fall asleep. And I met a shaman a year before at a medicine wheel gathering, and I knew I had to get a session with him to clear it. So after a month of calling, I finally got an appointment, drove up to Northern California, met him at a parking lot at a donut shop. On a Friday, we went out to this area where there were all these redwood trees, and he did a healing, and he said, this is going to get worse before it gets better, but tonight I'll dream about you to see how I can help you, and we'll know by Wednesday if it works. Okay. Well, that night wasn't so bad, but the following 2 days, I was in so much pain. I was curled up on the floor for 2 days, and it was so bad. I went back for a 3rd liver panel and blood panel that Monday, went in for the results on Wednesday. Surprise, everything was clear. Nothing in the liver, which I thought, wow, excuse me, that's pretty good because things in the liver aren't always easy to get rid of.
No.
So after that, I had this inner voice saying, you're being opened up. Do readings. I was like, forget it. I'm not doing readings. And I'd have pain. And then after all the pain would go away, all these visions and downloads would come through about people around me, things that I wouldn't have even had a clue about. So when I would resist it, I would have pain. And when I didn't resist it, I would have no pain. Now, let's go on another little track here. So I'm coming out of this really bumpy time in my life. I'm super shy in my 20s. I just was super shy. I wouldn't have even known what to tell people if they came in, if they didn't have questions. And math was my worst subject, still is, just terrible. So 3 different sets of friends, 3 different groups of friends who all didn't know each other, all referred me to this same exact woman for a numerology reading. And I'm like, no, I'm not getting any readings right now. Forget it. I could be really stubborn sometimes. I go out one Friday night with one group of friends. She's there. I couldn't avoid her. So
I had something similar happen with a person who won a session with me at an auction for a school, and she just wouldn't call me. And then she actually reversed into my car in the school car park. And then she still wouldn't call me. And then something else came up and I said, are you this person? Are you this? And she's like, oh, yes. And I was like, well, clearly we're meant to connect. Like, this is ridiculous. But she still didn't. But the universe definitely wanted you to get a numerology reading by this point.
Yeah. And when I talked with her, I really liked her. And so I went for this numerology reading. It was really life-changing. We became friends. I originally learned the numerology to have a social icebreaker with people if they were going to come for readings. But when I saw what it could do, how it's like a GPS, I thought, wow. So I don't need the numerology, but the numerology, like I said, is like a GPS and the numbers don't lie. So even though math was my worst subject, the numerology has worked out well for me. And yeah, I've learned a lot from it. I look at it as a lifetime learning and exploration. I know, like, what I know is in kindergarten compared to what she knew when she was alive. She was like a library. She knew addresses of planets with numbers and hidden factors and quantums in numbers. And she knew so much. It was like, wow.
Different. So then eventually you stopped fighting it and you started doing intuitive readings more.
Yeah, and you know, and I came into it so young in my 20s that people would arrive at my place to have a reading and I'd answer the door and they'd go, "Wow, can I just ask how old are you?" Because I look so young and they couldn't believe it. And so it was a lot. It was a lot to come into so young because I think in my 20s I was more grounded in the spirit realms than in the world. And I don't think I learned how to be in the world until much later. I didn't start doing that until I was about 28.
Yeah, that's an interesting contrast because I know when I started my spiritual reawakening, that's what I like to call it, I didn't want to be in the world anymore. I preferred to stay up here. So my bottom three chakras were always out of alignment and not anchoring me into the present, which is funny now because of how I work and the new kind of vibrations I'm learning to work with. I have to anchor into my body through all the senses before I can actually access the vibration. So it's the universe and spirit has such a magical way of making sure you still remember that you're human, right? Whilst you're accessing what you need to access to support people through their journey.
It's true. Yeah, so it's been a big learning. It took me, I mean, honestly, 17 years into doing readings to get clear about how the gift worked through me. And I had some surprises too. And then once I was able to do that, it was like discovering my X-Men gifts because we all have X-women or X-men gifts.
100%.
And once that happened, that was a game changer. But once that happened, after that, it took me many more years to learn how to manage it. So it wasn't managing me. It's been a big process.
Yeah, and I resonate with that so much because when I started so my first gift, that X-Men gift that came back online was clairaudience, and I had messages, always comes through my left ear. And so I had these whispers and I had a message from my dad, from my grandmother, and I didn't want to listen to it. And then I lost my hearing. So similar to how you said that if you didn't, focus on the information, you ended up in pain, I lose my hearing. So I was like, oh, I need to actually listen to this and just do it. And it was fine. But then and then I had two people in the space of a week say to me, when you open this door into this medium world, you are like putting up a giant neon sign saying you are open. You need to put contracts in to make sure that it's not all the time. And I'm like, I'll be fine. I'm just starting. And then within like a couple of days, sure enough, it was like nonstop. And I'm like, message received. I'm going to go put my contracts in now. So I put in my terms of, exactly like you said, so it doesn't manage you. Instead, you as opening the door to allow it to come through when it needs to. There are occasionally some cheeky spirits who don't respect that. And I get really cranky with them. But at the same time, most of them are very good at understanding that this is what we've put in place. So
Yeah.
So I guess, how do you work, as all through the years, obviously your gifts have evolved. So how do you work with people now?
Another big question.
We don't do little on this show, David.
First time sessions are an hour and a half. I have everybody book out 2 full hours. Most of them are on Zoom, unless people want to come to wherever I am in the world, which is usually Southern California. Basically, people choose either between a numerology session or an intuitive session. 90% of the people that come choose intuitive sessions. And the reason is they get to ask more personal questions. Because the numerology session is like a life reading. And there's so much information in it because I do their whole chart that there's only really time for 3 questions at the end. And then I give people resources of things that they can continue to explore or do outside the reading that can open doors for them, create healing, further breakthroughs and integration. And then the intuitive sessions, I send out a question prep. So people write out 10 questions that they come in with. And photos of anyone they want to ask about. And, I never saw, this is kind of funny, but I never saw myself doing medium work, really. Even though, like, my partner, his parents came through who were both passed already when we met, and they told me really specific things. He even argued with some of it and later on verified it. So things come through, but I still never really considered myself to, being a medium as one of my primary gifts. So it was kind of funny because, like, I was avoiding doing readings as a career, I
Before
was
you made him shit.
I was avoiding the medium work completely. So, because I felt a lot of pressure around it. You have to be so on when
Uh,
somebody comes for a medium session and they come with a lot of expectations.
and
Uh,
then you
more on,
second guess what comes through, right?
I don't
No.
do that so much, but I'm more with like, I'm like, wow, that's so interesting. I wasn't expecting that. Wow, really? So the thing is, a friend of mine connected me with this medium, and he and I connected on Instagram. And I was telling him one day in a message, yeah, sometimes things come through, but I don't really consider myself to be a medium. And he goes, yeah, that's what I used to tell myself too. And I'm like, thanks. So anyway, I really tried to deny it. So over time, in the last couple of years, year and a half, two different people had people close to them pass, and they both wanted a medium session from me. And I explained, hey, that's not the way the gift usually primarily works through me, but stuff comes through sometimes. They still really wanted to do it. So I asked my guides. I said, okay, I have to ask my guides. So I asked my guides, and my guides said, yes. I'm like, are you kidding? Are you really going to make me do a medium session? So I said yes.
You sound like me, David. I'm like, really? I can do this? They're like, yeah. I'm like, you're sure? And they're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Go, go, do it, do it.
So they went well, but one person, she goes, my sister and I had a code word. So I want to see if it comes up during the session. I'm like, well, I can't guarantee that or anything like that. Do you know how hard that is? So things came through, but the code word didn't really come through. But a lot of things came through, and she was happy with her session.
Yeah, it's interesting. I had a client a few months ago and she was asking if there was someone there and like in her family, and I was like, are you asking about a female? Because when you say that, you're like opening the door for any ancestor to come through. And then I said, look, your grandfather's here. And she's like, no, 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 no. Like I actually lost my brother. And I was like, I said, all right, well, let me see. I said, sometimes we actually have to be specific about who we want to come through. And then it got really clear. And then the information that came through but we had to wade through all of that too. And a lot of people will go, oh, it's just because you were fishing for information. It's like, well, no, there's so much there. There's just, at least when they come in with a specific person, you know that that's who you're looking for. But when they're sitting there making you try and find them and not telling you who you're looking for, it's like, anyway, that was my experience. And I was like, there's a dog, and she goes, oh yeah, they could have been a dog. And I was like, just tell me who I'm looking for, please. And it's interesting just how, like you said, when you're meant to be working on a certain gift, the universe will make sure that you are going to work on that gift, no matter who they throw in front of you, or they'll have the people
Um,
keep asking about the same things.
I've had some big surprises. Like, one of my surprises was I had no clue that I could do profiling work. And I do a lot of profiling work with photos that people bring in. So that really surprised me. And then lately, in the last few years, I've been working more with timelines, like you were saying. And it's like pulling rabbits out of a magic hat. I
Yeah.
never know what's going to come through, and I'm always surprised.
I feel that that's what makes it so amazing, right? Because you never get bored. It's always something new and something different. And, even when you think, oh, yeah, I've got this down packed, and there's something new that comes through, and you're like, oh, all right, next level, next level, next level. And I don't feel, we've chosen to be human and our soul has chosen to evolve. It's not going to stop evolving. It's still going to, because it wants to maximize this human experience at the same time, whilst tapping into our X-Men gifts, whilst sharing that to empower others at the same time too. And that's just kind of the momentum that you get in.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
It's never boring.
No.
And, there's still lessons with it too, you know?
And, it's funny because people in the spiritual world, they talk about, a dark night of the soul. And I'm like, no, it's round one, round two, round three, round four. And then you just get a different spice of the same, a different flavor of the same spice kind of thing almost. It's interesting how it just keeps, as you keep shedding those layers that are keeping you from truly showing yourself. Yeah.
And I never stop working on myself. Like, I feel like we're always clearing our whole tour through here in the human experience. And I'm always continuously clearing and working on myself because I know that's going to not only support me to be my best and give my best to people, but it's going to support everyone.
Yeah, 100%. And I guess that's such an important reminder for everyone listening that you never stop working on yourself. There's always another layer, there's always something else to clear. And even when you do the big work, you get the cobwebs to come through.
Yeah. And honestly, I'm really clear. I have no shortage of material.
Like, we could go on for many, many years to come. And I guess this is why it's so important to just own who you are and realize that, that whole thing of like, you are whole. It's just there's levels that we have to keep going through to keep us that way, and keep us evolving and keep us moving and keep us expanding and growing as well.
Yeah, fascinating.
It is. It is. And as we start to finish our time together, David, I asked the guests that come on the show if you could heal or change something in the world, what would it be?
It's a combo for me. Besides world peace, it would be to end hunger, and to have everybody feel and have prosperity, that there is no more poverty in our world because we have so many resources and talented and brilliant people in our world that there's no reason people should feel or experience poverty or lack or lose their dignity because of it. And we're supposedly so advanced on some levels, but we're really maybe not as advanced consciously as we might want to believe ourselves to be, because why would there be slavery or human trafficking in the world then, you know? So those things are unacceptable. Cruelty to animals, unacceptable. Cruelty to children or women, unacceptable.
Even on a nature level, like global destruction of nature, unacceptable. Because when people realize we are nature, and when we destroy nature, we're destroying ourselves, that it
Totally.
causes a different shift as well. And I agree. Like, I feel like it's the ego that makes us think that we're so advanced, whereas, I sit here and I do what I do and I'm like, oh gosh, we're so far behind on healing, on medicine, on technology, and it's just like...
because you were talking about earlier with me about the ringing in your ear sometimes.
Yes.
Have you read, because I love reading books, have you read the Ringing Cedars series?
No, I haven't.
Do you know about it?
No.
Let me tell you and everybody about it. So there's this series of books. There's 9 of them, but they don't have number 9 on the cover. They have 8.1 and 8.2. So all the numbers are on the front covers. You read them all in order. It's presented as if it's real. And if you're reading them and analyzing them going, wow, how could this possibly be real? That's not the way you want to read them. It doesn't matter if they're real or not. I mean, who cares, really, honestly? What matters is that you enjoy your reading experience and that you could read them as if you're enjoying a good European fairy tale. Now, my vote personally is that they're real, but they take place on multiple dimensions.
How intriguing. Have I not heard of these books till now?
When you read these books, it improves your inner state and your whole life starts to become better as a result. And the website where people get them, they ship them out really fast. It's called Ringing, like ringing a bell, Ringing Cedars, like the trees.com. They're so amazing that I know I'm going to go back in my life and reread them again.
Ringing Cedars. Don't mind me. I'm just looking them up while you're talking.
Amazing.
It's funny because I channel trees. So it's really interesting that it's about ringing cedars. And
you like trees, there's another tree book I would recommend.
I love this. Yes, tell me.
Oh, it's so good, this story. It's called The Legacy of Luna.
Oh,
and it's by Julia Butterfly Hill.
Beautiful. I love this. I think everyone listening now has a reading list that they can walk away with.
I went to art school, and I'll tell you, trees is one of my most favorite things to draw
We were
or
talking
to
about this. Yeah.
bring through.
Yeah.
There's just something so grounding and healing and magical about trees.
Very, very cool. There is, and there's so much healing that they do as well. Like it's not
I,
just, it's
I,
so
pl-
interesting.
I planted a couple trees at significant times in different countries, and those trees are still growing and thriving and doing well.
Amazing. Amazing. I've healed with trees. I've talked to trees. I've channeled stories from trees. There's so much with trees that I'm still to explore and to discover. And it's just my druid history and Celtic lineage, I
Mm.
feel, just coming through. And if people want to find out more about you, David, and come work with you, where can they find you?
Everybody's welcome to visit my website, which is Inner, Precision, PRECISION.com. Inner Precision.
Beautiful. And I'll make sure to pop that in the show notes.
One of my favorite trees you have in your country.
The eucalypt.
Do you know what I'm going to say? Well, I love eucalyptus for sure. That's one of them too. But the one I'm thinking of specifically is like, wow, it's the boab.
Boa? I don't know what a boap is. How do I not know this?
You would know it if you saw it. They only
Maybe we
grow in
could.
they only grow in Australia and Africa. So
Huh?
like in Western Australia, I saw them when I lived in the outback.
Boab tree. Actually, I know what you're talking about now. Okay, yes, yes. Boab tree. Yes, they are very, very cool. And they hold so much energy in them.
Now,
I
and
haven't
also
seen one in
there's
person.
there's this Australian flower remedy company. I forget the name of it. It might be Australian Flower Essences. I don't know. But they have a boab remedy, and that clears deep family patterns and ancestral patterns.
Interesting. I can see that. I can see that with that tree. But no, I haven't seen because it's not in my part of Australia. That's why I haven't heard of it. See, I'm surrounded by eucalypts and wattles and beautiful banksia trees.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, so
And
many.
I mean, there's a few places in Australia that I just love. So I love Australia, but I love the Blue Mountains, and I love the town of Lura in the
Mm,
Blue Mountains.
mm.
I find Lura to be just so amazing.
There is a very humbling presence, especially when you're with the three sisters and those sorts of
Mm.
things. So, but thank you for being on the show, David. Thank you for sharing your
Thank you
journey.
so much for having me, Catherine. I just feel, can I just share?
Yeah.
While we've been on here, I felt one of your grandfathers around you, and I feel the fairy realms wanting to connect with you in a big way.
Yep. Makes sense. Makes sense. Makes sense. I know who you're talking about, and I know about the fairies as well. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well,
All right. Thank you, David.
many blessings to you and everyone here, and thank you all so much.
Thank you for listening to Willow Healing Matters, the podcast. We have so much love and gratitude that you have taken the time out of your day to empower you on your healing journey. The views shared by the person being interviewed might not necessarily reflect that of the host and should be used at your own discernment. Trust what resonates for you and follow your heart and soul guidance. If you have any underlying medical conditions or mental health issues, please consult with your healthcare provider before pursuing any of the recommendations. Likewise, you can always contact the person being interviewed to find out more information. This can be found in the show notes. Remember to activate, align, heal, empower, and find love in everything that you do.